morning. I'm driving to work again, and I feel like I've been swirling a lot in a whole lot of change since the girls and I returned from Italy and returned to some of our kind of normal daily life. It's extremely apparent that the lives that we were living before, like that there's a whole lot that's changed, and so we have to change too. And I've been looking at my commute time, which has increased, and now I'm driving even further, sometimes not getting home until late in the evening, and all that's left of me after that is crumbs, and I'm like kind of racing to get things done. Sometimes it's 9:30 at night by the time I've picked up one of the kids from work and then finally gotten home and taken care of animals. And it's sort of like either the farm has to go, we have to move, or life has to change to align better with where we are. So I told the girls on our trip to Italy that one of the things that I really wanted to invite them to think about is, where is home for them? They were born in Denver, then we lived in the Pacific Northwest, then we moved to Wisconsin to begin this farm adventure. And when you live in a rural place like this, you're not close to a lot of people, but they have a lot of really close friends in a community nearby. And I just wanted to know from them, like, what's calling to your hearts right now in this time. And I was kind of surprised that after really thinking it through and kind of traveling a month or so after returning, that they both settled on feeling like this is home and this is where they want to stay, and they can't imagine someone else living in our home right now. They can't imagine kind of not being in the place where they were with Tim, and most recently. And I've kind of been feeling that way myself. So we settled on staying, and now my job has been to figure out what staying looks like and how do I stay in a way that really works for me and for the girls and for our time together. Tim was home. He was the stay-at-home parent. Even with cancer, he stayed at home most of the time, and was really available to the girls in a whole lot of ways. Even as his body was ailing more, he was still very present. The girls and I laugh because, like, the day before he passed, he was sort of in and out of mental consciousness, and being able, I think he was pretty mentally there the whole time, but his words were pretty tough. And at one point, one of them, or both of them, were kind of running after each other, ran up the stairs and slammed the door, and he hadn't been saying much, and all of a sudden he yells out, "Girls, don't slam the door!" So, he just was that kind of constant, steady presence, and I need to become that in a way that I haven't been. I've been working full-time and really doing the work behind the scenes to sustain the farm, but you've got to have someone physically present. And with two girls in, middle school, high school, time goes fast. Cancer has taught me that time really flies and you don't get it back. And so in re-examining time and how I want to be in this time with them, I've decided decided that I needed to put in my resignation from my position as a manager with that increasingly long commute time to begin to pursue work in the area where we live. That's a whole lot closer to home. I need to kind of step out on some things that will allow me to be physically present, mentally present, emotionally present for the girls day in and day out. So I'm really going to start to lay down some traction on some things that have been calling to my heart for a long time. Part of that is coaching and consulting for just what does it look like to thrive in a time like now. You know, we're all kind of going through a lot of things. Some of it relates to our physical health, some of it relates to our planetary health, and as an occupational therapist and climate coach, I feel really called to show up in this space to bring my skill set and expertise to help. I don't have all the answers, but I think that there's a incredible intelligence inside of each and every one of us, and it's my deepest desire to help people kind of hold space for people to tune into that and really honor and respect where they're at right now and what they need to do to, you know, step out on a life that makes sense right now. Just given a whole lot of thought to that and to what I want to really be doing and how I want to be showing up in the work arena right now. The other thing that's really calling to me is to really convert our farm into a farm that's a working farm. It's got so much potential, and we've been laying down the foundation for the past 7 years. Tim did an incredible job. I mean, we all did. But I want to create a launch pad for young women who are eager to move into the farming arena but don't have land, and they want to kind of have access to spaces that they can begin to hone their skill set and craft, so that when they do step into actually leasing or owning their own land, that they really feel confident in taking that step. So I'm just starting to lay down the foundation for that. The other thing that really calls to my heart that I had been investing a lot of time and energy in before Tim got sick was some work called Woman Speak. And I became a Woman Speak circle leader. Woman Speak is really a type of work that empowers women to use their voices to be the change they want to see in the world. And it's really about speaking from your heart and having the courage to show up in spaces like this. So I really credit my training there to kind of having the courage to show up in this space and just speak from my heart. One of the things that I learned, I knew it already. I mean, I served in the role of a minister and priest for a good number of years, and in that work I had to show up time and time again, standing in front of an audience and just, you know, speaking from my heart. And early on in that work, I choked big time. Like, I'd stand in front of our congregation and my mouth would just be like absolutely silent. Didn't have a single word to say. I had a lot of words to say, but I didn't know how to get them out. So I really had to overcome that. And when I discovered Women Speak, I found this incredible group of women that were being trained to hold space for other women to gain confidence in using their voice. And so it's an incredibly supportive environment for learning how to use your voice in all kinds of settings, from speaking at a press conference to speaking on a panel of speakers to giving a 1 minute or 5 minute or 20 minute talk. In doing that work, I had created this website to kind of really speak about my concerns for the planet and the coaching that I wanted to offer in the climate space. And then I still couldn't get my voice out, really. And as I was trying to muster up the courage for that, Tim got sick. And I knew when he got sick that everything had to pivot and change. And so I decided to use this space that I had already created to talk about cancer and talk about the connections between cancer and what's happening to our environment, given that his diagnosis really, his cancer most likely came from an exposure to environmental toxins in his early 20s, late teens, early 20s. At least that's what his oncologist believes. I believe it too. And it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart that so many people are affected by the things that are happening on our planet. But I also believe that we as human beings have tremendous power to make things different, to live differently, to show up differently. And so this step that I'm taking now with my girls and kind of stepping out on these things that are really calling to my heart is a step that I believe we all need to take in our own ways. I've got to take this step first to prove to myself, first and foremost, that it's a doable step. And that when we do it, if it's really coming from our heart, that the stars align and that things align to bring us the support that we need to make traction. And so I'm going first. And if I begin to make traction, I invite people to come along with me. And if you need courage and you need to kind of figure out how to do it for yourself and what that looks like, or you need support in digging deep to find out what's really calling to you and how do you step out on that, I hope to be one of many people holding space for that to happen. It's really the only thing that makes sense to me right now, because I believe that our future, the well-being of our planet, the well-being of our children, the well-being of future generations, depends on us kind of taking bold, courageous steps to create something new on our planet, to step out and do things in a new way that supports life and thriving. So, and with that, I'm going to close this out and continue driving to work. And just, as always, thank you for listening to me in this space. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to exercise using my voice. I'm grateful to Tim for being willing to let me be the spokesperson for our journey all the way to the end. That was incredibly courageous of him to allow his story to be told, to allow our story to be told. And while it terrified me to tell it, it was one of the most honorable things I've ever been able to do. So, all right, sending you love wherever you are in this world, and